Hello, this is Joe MTL Vintage Cards, bringing you another game from the 1962 New York Mets expansion season. This project was inspired by the book Can't Anybody Here Play This Game by Jimmy Breslin, a most entertaining book. I urge you to pick it up wherever you get your books. This replay will be using the inside pitch. I'll be rolling the dice off camera, and I'll be recording the statistics here on PC Replay Baseball. So before I go on to the records coming up, that's a spoiler alert. If you want to follow along in order, you can follow along in my playlist. Here we go. The 3-2 Houston Colt 45s will be playing against the winless New York Mets. The starting lineups for the Colt 45s: Bob Aspromontes at third base. Al Spangler will be in center field. Roman Mejias will bat third and patrol right. Norm Larker will play first and clean up. Jim Pendleton will bat fifth and play left field. Hal Smith will do the catching, batting seventh. Joey Amalfitano will play second base. He's batting seventh, I'm sorry. Don Budden will be the shortstop, batting eighth, and Bobby Shantz will do the pitching. For the New York Mets, managed by the legendary Casey Stengel, Felix Mantilla will lead off. Rod Cannell will play second. Don Zimmer will bat third and play third. Frank Thomas will play left field and be the cleanup hitter. Gil Hodges will play first base, batting fifth. I didn't have a Bobby Smith card, so Jim Marshall will play in right field, batting seventh. Jim Hickman, batting eighth, plays center field. Chris Cannizzaro will do the catching, and Jay Hook, batting ninth, will be the pitcher. So Jay Hook, in 1962, had 34 starts, 3 of them in relief. He had an 8-19 record with a 4.84 ERA. This is his first game of the season, and he'll face Bob Aspromonte. Aspromonte in real life hit .266 with 11 home runs, 59 RBIs. And we're underway. And Aspromonte will hit a ball to short. Mantilla is there, fires it over to Gil Hodges for the first out of the inning. In real life, the Colt 45s won this game 5-2. I'll post the link to the real life box score in the description. Batting second, the center fielder Al Spangler. Spangler in 1962 was a .285 hitter with 5 home runs and 35 RBIs. The pitch from Jay Hook, swing and a miss, strike 3. So quickly, there are 2 out. For the third place hitter, Roman Mejias. Mejias hit .286 with 24 home runs and 76 RBIs. That's ball 1 to Mejias as the ball goes into the backstop. And Mejias will hit a ball to center field. That's over Jim Hickman's head. Rounding first, trotting into second, is Roman Mejias with a 2-out stand-up double. Norm Larker is the next hitter, and Norm Larker, previously with the Los Angeles Dodgers, bat .263 with 9 home runs and 63 RBIs. And Larker hits a fly ball to right field. Jim Marshall is there. Easy play for out number 3. The Colt 45s don't score as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Bobby Shantz in 1962, he had 3 starts. This was one of them with 28 relief appearances for a 6-4 record, 4 saves, and a sparkling 1.97 ERA. He'll later go on to pitch for the St. Louis Cardinals. He'll be facing Felix Mantilla. And Mantilla 275 in 1962. So far in the young season, he has 1 home run and 1 RBI. And the pitch from Chance. And Mantilla hits a ball to Aspromonte. Aspromonte in a few steps, fires it across the diamond for out number 1. Rod Canal. Canal off to a 3-for-7 start. In real life, 248 with 4 home runs and 27 RBIs. And that ball is hit to Aspromonte. He ranges to his right. He can't get there. Into left field for a single for Rod Canal. And Canal continues his hot hitting in the early going. Single, thank you. Don Zimmer is up. Zimmer in real life hit just 213 with 2 home runs and 13 RBIs. Here's the pitch from Chance. And that's high, ball 4. So runners on first and second with only 1 out. For the cleanup hitter, Frank Thomas. Probably the only significant power source on this team that year. And the balls were flying out of the Polo Grounds in 1962. There were 213 home runs in that season. 1962, Frank Thomas had 34 home runs, 94 RBIs, and a 266 batting average. And Thomas hits a ground ball to first. Zimmer throws it to Amalfitano covering over to first, not in time. So fielder's choice as Frank Thomas legs it out. Runners on first and third and 2 out for Gil Hodges. Hodges had only 127 at-bats in 1962. He hit 252, and you can see his stats there on the young season. Gil Hodges will hit a fly ball. Roman Mejias is there. He trots in, not too deep, and he makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. The Mets threaten, don't score. We are headed to the top of the 2nd inning, and we are scoreless. Jim Pendleton, in 1962, hit 246 with 8 home runs and 36 RBIs. Here's the pitch from J. Hook. And that's a liner to Zimmer, right at him. He's got it for out number 1. Hal Smith is the next batter, the catcher. Hit 235 in 1962. He had 12 home runs and 35 RBIs. And J. Hook will... That ball is in the dirt, ball 4, and that's a 1-out walk to Hal Smith. Smith is no threat to steal. The second baseman, Joey Amalfitano, is the next hitter. He hit 237 with 1 home run and 27 RBIs. And a pitch from Hook. And that's a single. Past Mantilla into left field. Hal Smith will stop at second base. We have runners on first and second for the 8th place hitter, Don Budden. Budden hit just 196 with 2 home runs and 14 RBIs. And Budden hits a fly ball, center field. That's not too deep. Jim Hickman comes in for the 2nd out of the inning. 2 out for the pitcher, Bobby Chance. And Chance was just 2 for 21 in 1962. J. Hook is looking to get out of this inning. And Chance, swing and a miss, strike 3. A very predictable outcome for the 3rd out of the inning. Chance in the bottom of the second will face Marshall, Hickman, Cannizzaro, and then the pitcher. And Jim Marshall hit .250 in 1962. And Marshall hits a ball into the corner, into left field. That rattles around. Jim Pendleton is having a hard time digging it out. Rounding second, heading it over to third is Marshall. He'll dive in, safe for a leadoff triple. So Jim Pendleton couldn't get to it, which led to the leadoff triple by Jim Marshall. The Colt 45s will play the infield back. It's early in the game. They'll give up the run for an out. And Hickman, 13 home runs, 46 RBIs. And Hickman hits a fly ball to right field, and Mejias can't get to it. That drops in front of him for a single. So an RBI single. An RBI single for Jim Hickman gives the Mets the early 1-0 lead. Chris Cannizzaro, the catcher, and Cannizzaro hit .241 with no home runs and 9 RBIs. Cannizzaro pops it up to short. Infield fly rule is in effect. Budden is there. He makes the play for out number 1. Jay Hook will be asked to bunt. And Jay Hook lays down the bunt. That's a good bunt. That bunt is over to first. Norm Larker. He'll make the play unassisted as he tags out Jay Hook. Over to second goes Jim Hickman. With 2 out and a runner in scoring position, we're back to the top of the order, and Felix Mantilla, who grounded out to Aspromonte his first time up. And Mantilla, swing and a miss, strike 3 to end the inning. The Mets take an early 1-0 lead heading into the third inning. I think I need to replace the battery on my mouse. Top of the order with Bob Aspromonte. He grounded to short his first time up. And Aspromonte will hit a fly ball deep to left field. Back at the wall is Thomas. He leaps and he makes the catch. Warning track power for Aspromonte on that instance. That's out number 1. Big loud out. For the next hitter, which is Al Spangler, who struck out his first time up. And on his second time up, Spangler draws the walk. Spangler couldn't get the lead. Roman Mejias is the next hitter. He doubled his first time up. He didn't score. And Mejias hits the ball to Zimmer. Zimmer makes the play. Over to second for 1. Over to first, not in time. Cannell could not make the pivot throw, so that'd be a 5-4 on the fielder's choice. So 2 out with Mejias on. Mejias is a threat to steal, but he doesn't get the lead. Norm Larker, the cleanup hitter, and Norm Larker, who previously hit a fly ball to right field, hits a single. Rounding over to Marshall. Rounding second, heading to third is Roman Mejias. Runners are at the corners with 2 out. And Jim Pendleton is up. And Pendleton, he lined out his in the previous inning. And Pendleton will hit a fly ball to Thomas again. That ball is blowing, the wind is blowing up, and that ball is up and out of here. Jim Pendleton, a 3-run shot, gives the Colt 45s a 3-1 lead. Just like that, in this ballpark, you never know what's going to happen and the Colt 45s are in the lead. As the next hitter, Hal Smith, steps up. Smith walked his first time up. And Smith hits a ground ball short. Mantilla is there. And Mantilla will boot it. He can't make the play. That clanks off his glove. And that's an error. So the inning continues for the Colt 45s and for Joey Amalfitano. And Hook throws a ball. That gets by Cannizzaro for a wild pitch. Casey would love his team to get out of the inning, but not this time because the control issues continue for Jay Hook and Amalfitano walks. So runners on first and second for Don Budden. Hook will hit a fly ball to Thomas. Thomas has been busy. He hits a fly ball, left field. Thomas comes in a few steps and he makes the play. Oh, I forgot to order. That's a walk. And that's F7. Okay. The Colt 45s scored 3 runs in the third inning to take a 3-1 lead. Rod Cannell will look to get some of those runs back in this inning. And Cannell hits a ball to left field. Another ball that's over the head of Pendleton. And Cannell is flying around the bases, and he ends up at third standing up. That's the second triple of the game. And these are all thanks to the ballpark effects in the Polo Grounds. Again, the Colt 45s will play back. They'll give up the run. And that's a fly ball to center field for Zimmer. Will it be deep enough to score a run? Yes, it will. Sacrifice fly for Zimmer. Sacrifice fly center field for Zimmer. And the Mets make it a 1-0 lead for Frank Thomas. Thomas pops it up. Back a few steps is Aspromonte into shallow left field, but he makes the play for out number 2. And Gil Hodges, with 2 outs, steps up to the plate. Hodges will single past Aspromonte into left field, a 2-out single for Hodges. Jim Marshall is up. He tripled his first time up. And Marshall will make an out somewhere. That's a fly ball to Spangler, center field. Spangler shades over to his right. He makes the play for out number 3. So the Mets score a run, and they trail the Houston Colt 45s as we head into the 4th inning. And Cannell hits it to right field. A sinking Quail, and Marshall can't get to it. That's a leadoff single for Bobby Shantz. How about that? Bob Aspromonte, leadoff hitter, as the Colt 45s turn over the order once again. And Aspromonte hits a ball over the head of Jim Hickman. Rounding second. Heading for third is Shantz. Third base coach holds up the stop sign. And that's a double for Aspromonte. So runners on second and third for Al Spangler. Casey knows that his offense is a little bit anemic, and he'll call in the infield, hopefully able to choke off the runs. And that's a ball to Spangler, and Spangler singles. past. So Spangler singles past shortstop into left field. Into score is Chance. Rounding third, headed for home is Aspromonte. And that's a 2-run single by Spangler. And the Colt 45s have a 5-2 lead. Still nobody out for Roman Mejias. And Mejias, he lines it to Zimmer. Spangler saw that, and he stays safely at first. So 1 out for Norm Larker. And Larker, fly ball, deep left field again. The wind is really blowing out at the Polo Grounds today, and that ball is out of here. A 2-run shot for Norm Larker, and that'll be it for Jay Hook. So Jay Hook comes out of the game. And Casey will ask Sherman Jones to step in. This is going to be a long season for the New York Mets. But apparently they drew really well in attendance. And I'm enjoying this project. 5 games in, I'm enjoying this project. I'm learning about the history of 1962, reading along with Jimmy Breslin's book. It's been great fun. Hope you enjoy this too. So Jim Pendleton, still only 1 out. Pendleton lines it to Zimmer for the 2nd out of the inning. And Hal Smith is up. And Smith singles past Zimmer. The Colt 45s are not done yet. Runner on first, 2 out. 8th man of the inning is Amalfitano. And Amalfitano singles through the box. Stopping at second is Hal Smith. Runners on first and second for Don Budden. And Budden singles into center field. Amalfitano stops at second. Coming in to score is Hal Smith, and it's 8-2. So the Colt 45s have batted around, and Bobby Chance will hit a ground ball to Gil Hodges, and thankfully for the Mets, this inning is over. But the Colts score 5 runs and take a commanding 8-2 lead into the bottom of the 4th. For Jim Hickman. And Hickman, swing and a miss, strike 3. Chris Cannizzaro is the next hitter. Cannizzaro with a ground ball to Aspromonte. Aspromonte over to first. Oh, hang on. Erase that. Hickman struck out. No, just a second. That was 3 unassisted. Okay, good. So Jim Hickman struck out. Sorry, folks, this is my mouse with a weak battery. And then Chris Cannizzaro. What did I say? Cannizzaro hit a ground ball to third base to Aspromonte, and that's out number 2. Okay. And Sherman Jones will hit for himself. And Sherman Jones hits a ball to Norm Larker. Norm Larker grabs it himself, makes the play for out number 3. It was early in the game for Casey to replace Sherman Jones, and he's going to ask him to somehow try and not have any runs scored in the 5th inning. Top of the 5th, top of the order, Bob Aspromonte. And Aspromonte singles, leadoff single, and the problems continue. Al Spangler is up. And that's a wild pitch. Trotting to second as Aspromonte. And that ball is hit to Zimmer. Zimmer stops it. He can't make the play, and that's an infield single. Runner, and this is officially a laugher, folks. Runners on 1st and 3rd. Nobody out for Roman Mejias. And Mejias strikes out. With 1 out, Casey's calling the infield in, hoping, begging. And that ball is hit to center field. Deep is Hickman. Is it deep enough to score Aspromonte? No, it's not. So a shallow fly ball to Hickman. He quickly fires it in. And there are 2 out for Jim Pendleton. Pendleton has a 3-run homer in his 3 at-bats. Pendleton grounds it to Sherman Jones. He throws it to first for the 3rd out of the inning. And the Cardinals are scoreless. The Colt 45s, I mean. To the bottom of the 5th and the top of the order, and Felix Mantilla. And Mantilla will ground it to Don Budden, who throws it to first for out number 1. Rod Cannell is the next hitter. Cannell is 2 for 2 with a triple. And Cannell will swing and a miss, strike 3. Quickly, there are 2 out. 6 in a row have been retired by Bobby Shantz. The 3rd place hitter is Don Zimmer. And Zimmer will hit a fly ball to right field to Roman Mejias. Shaggy, lazy fly ball, and Mejias makes the play for out number 3. Top of the 6th. A commanding 8-2 lead for the Houston Colt 45s, and Hal Smith is the batter. Smith hits a fly ball to center field. Hickman goes back a few steps, and he makes the play for out number 1. Joey Amalfitano, this is his 4th time up. He's yet to make an out. He has 2 singles and a walk. That's ball 1. And that's a single. Past the pitcher into center field. And Amalfitano, that's his 3rd single of the game. Runner on first, 1 out for Don Budden. Let's put him at first. Okay, for Don Budden. And that ball is hit to Frank Thomas. Thomas will make the play. Holding at first is Amalfitano, and that's 2 out for Bobby Shantz. And Shantz hits a single. That's Shantz's 2nd hit of the game. Runners on first and second. With 2 out. And already we're in the 6th inning, and this is Aspromonte's 5th time at bat. Aspromonte will ground it to Cannell. He flips it to Mantilla, covering for the 3rd out. Houston threatens, but doesn't score. Bottom of the 6th. 8-2 lead for Houston Colt 45s. Frank Thomas. Fly ball To short left field, Pendleton is there, and that's out number 1. Gil Hodges, who has one of New York's only 5 hits so far. Let's see. Shans, he'll be tired at the 26th batter. So I was just checking for fatigue. And that's a single for Gil Hodges. So Hodges gets his second hit of the game. For Jim Marshall. Marshall hits a fly ball to right field. Mejias is going way back, and that ball is up, and out of here. And Jim Marshall, with his second home run of the season, makes it 8-4. So the Mets did have a sad sack team, but when you're playing half of your games in the Polo Ground, anything can happen. Jim Hickman will draw a walk. So a 1-out walk. And stepping up is Chris Cannizzaro. Cannizzaro, fly ball, Spangler, he's in. And that's the second out of the inning. 2 out. Sherman Jones will be called back for a pinch hitter. And the pinch hitter will be Elio Chacon. Elio Chacon will come in to do the pinch hitting. In 1962, he had a .236 batting average with 2 home runs, 27 RBIs. And Chacon facing Shantz. Ground ball to third. Aspromonte flips it to Amalfitano covering. And that's the end of the inning. The Mets are making it interesting. Suddenly it's 8-4. The Mets will ask Ken McKenzie to come in. This is McKenzie's already 4th game. He has a 6.23 ERA in the replay so far. Spangler, the second place hitter. And Spangler gets hit. He gets plunked to lead off the inning. Roman Mejias. And Mejias hits a ground ball to third. Over to second, Cannell is there for 1. Over to first, not in time. Fielder's choice for Roman Mejias. Ken McKenzie facing Norm Larker, lefty-lefty matchup. And another ground ball to Zimmer. Over to second for 1, and Cannell can't make the pivot again. So consecutive fielder's choice plays. 2 out with Larker at first for Jim Pendleton. Pendleton, fly ball, center field for Hickman. Easy play for him. And that's out number 3. We're stretching at the Polo Grounds with an 8-4 Houston Colt 45's lead. Stretching our legs, coming back after a sip of morning coffee. Bobby Shantz will face Felix Mantilla, Rod Cannell, and Don Zimmer. And let's monitor Shantz's freshness. So he is tired. So we'll take him batter by batter. And Mantilla, and that ball hit left field to Pendleton. And that ball gets over his head, off the wall. Pendleton scoops it up, but it's a leadoff double for Felix Mantilla. Bobby Shantz will be called back, but Bobby Shantz will be, I believe, no, he's batting fourth next inning. We'll just play it straight and we'll just replace Shantz. So Shantz is being called back to the dugout, and lots of choice here. Bob Tiefenauer will be asked for relief. And Tiefenauer, in real life, 2-4, 1 save with a 4.34 ERA. He'll face Rod Cannell. Swing and a miss, strike 3, Rod Cannell. That's the first out of the inning. And Don Zimmer. Zimmer 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly and a walk. And that ball is a pop-up. Bob Aspromonte, little dying quail, and that's out number 2. Frank Thomas. Thomas is yet to get a hit this game. Thomas fly ball to Ron Mejias. Mejias is there for the third out of the inning. To the 8th we go. McKenzie will be facing, there are a bunch of right-handed hitters. Casey's calling McKenzie back. And Casey will ask, let's see who we'll ask. Casey will ask Ray Davio to come in. And Davio, the Montrealer, this is his second game. In real life, he was 1-5 with a 6.22 ERA. And Hal Smith will draw a leadoff walk. Leadoff walk. Joey Amalfitano. Amalfitano, again, hot hitter in the game, 3 for 3 with a walk. Amalfitano, fly ball, right field. That's a walk for Smith. Fly ball, right field for Amalfitano for the first out of the inning in the 8th. 8th place hitter, Don Budden facing, and he'll draw a walk. Budden draws a walk. Tiefenauer will be asked to come back as the Colt 45s are looking to extend their lead. Their only left-handed hitter on the... Oh no, there's a P. Brown. Who's P. Brown? Let's see. Pidge Brown. There we go. Pidge. I got to look up that name some. So Pidge Brown will be asked to pinch hit. He hit just .210 in 1962. Brown facing Davio. And he singles. Pidge Brown singles. Heading for home is Hal Smith. Stopping at second is Budden. And it's 9-4. A pinch hit single by Pidge Brown. How about that? Bob Aspromonte back to the top of the order. "16 hits. And Aspromonte, fly ball, center field. Not deep enough for Budden to go to third. He just draws the throw. That's out number 2. For Al Spangler. And Al Spangler will hit a ground ball to short. Mantilla flips it to Cannell, covering, and that's the third out of the inning. The Colt 45s add a run. As we hit to the bottom of the 8th, 9-4 for Houston. Now Houston, their closer is Dave Justy. That's probably not a good time for him to... So Jim Golden will be asked to come in. And Golden, no, it was Jim Golden. Oh, Justy. Well, live TV, folks. Justy it is. I made the error and I can't switch him. Oh, but that's okay. I thought Justy was the closer. But look at this. In 1962, Justy was 2-3, no saves, with a 5.62 ERA. That was a happy accident. So Justy will face Hodges, Marshall, and Hickman. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 for Hodges. 1 out for Jim Marshall. Jim Marshall has a home run and a triple this game. Marshall hits it to Amalfitano. Amalfitano scoops it up, bobbles it a little bit, but he has plenty of time to make the play for the second out. 2 out for Jim Hickman. Hickman grounds it to the pitcher. Easy play, underhands it to Larker for the third out of the inning. To the 9th inning we go, with the Houston Colt 45s 9 and the New York Mets 4. This is Davio's second inning of work. Davio to Mejias, single. Mejias 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this was a 7th at bat of the game. He has 3 hits. Excuse me. Norm Larker. Larker, swing and a miss, strike 3. And Jim Pendleton. Pendleton is 1 for 5 in the game. And Pendleton is hit. That's the second hit by pitch of the game. Runners on first and second. For Hal Smith. Smith is, oh boy, all sorts of problem. Fly ball of Frank Thomas. He comes in, makes the diving catch. Holding at second is Mejias. There are 2 out for Joey Amalfitano. There are 2 out for Joey Amalfitano. And that's a fly ball to Jim Marshall. Marshall comes in, fine running catch for the third out of the inning. To the bottom of the 9th. The Mets trail 9-4. It'll be Chris Cannizzaro, the pitcher spot, and then Felix Mantilla. And Cannizzaro, fly ball, center field. First out of the inning, and Canizzaro's 0 for 4. Davio being called back to the bench. The pinch hitter will be Gus Bell. So Gus Bell on the season just 1 for 12 in real life, batted .241. Bell pops it up. Budden is there. And that's out number 2. Pop up to short. Last chance for the Mets to get something going here. And Mantilla hits a ball. Way back goes Jim Pendleton, and that ball is up, and out of here. A home run for Felix Mantilla, and I think this is the second home run of the season. Yes, it is. And Mantilla makes it 9-5. I don't care if they're 0-4 and soon to be 0-5. This is a very enjoyable replay. So Canal. So let's see if he can keep it going. And that ball gets by Norm Locker. Into the corner it goes. And suddenly, the Mets are coming in alive. John Zimmer. Zimmer hits a fly ball to Spangler. And that ball drops in front of Spangler. Canal heading around third, scoring, and it's 9-6. That's enough for Justy. So Justy's coming out of the game. And Jim Umbright will be asked to close this out. Umbright in 1962 was 4-0 with 2 saves and a 2.01 ERA. And Umbright, Frank Thomas draws a walk. And suddenly the tying run is at the plate in the name of Gil Hodges. And Hodges, little dribbler Aspromonte, he can't make the play. Honestly, folks, this is what's really happening. This is not dramatics for me. I am just rolling the dice here. So bases are loaded for Jim Marshall. Marshall will be called back. And Richie Ashburn will be asked to hit. Ashburn in real life hit .306. The bases are loaded. 2 out. And Ashburn singles past Amalfitano. Scoring is Zimmer. Holding at third is, let's see if he has the wheels to score from second. Yes, he does. Over the third goes... No, he holds at second, so it's a 2-run single. And it's 9-8 for Jim Hickman. And Hickman hits a fly ball to center field. Pendleton is there. He makes the catch. Game over. This turned into a very exciting game. Unfortunately, the Mets get their 5th loss of the season, but what a game. Let's look at the box score. Here you can see all these other games are played using PC Replay Baseball Sim. But let's look at the box score. For the Houston Colt 45s, 9 runs, 17 hits, no errors. They left 16 men on base. For the New York Mets, 8 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. They left 8 men on base. The winning pitcher, Bobby Shantz, evens his record at 1-1. The loser is Jay Hook. He goes to 0-1. The save is Jim Albright. This is his 3rd save. Home runs in the game. Jim Pendleton, Norm Larker for the Houston Colt 45s. Jim Marshall and Felix Mantilla for the New York Mets. This was a great game. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. Until next time, merci and see you soon.